Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? And welcome to Take on the World with
John.
Lexi.
and Mike. And just so everybody knows, we're EEOC compliant today with our resident millennial,
What's EEOC?
Welcome back.
equal opportunity employer.
Oh, nice. I like that. Also, we have a dog. I think that's pretty equal opportunity.
And we're ADA compliant.
As always.
So we have a millennial back in the house. The last couple, which some of these are going up out of order because there's some bonus episodes going up at popular demand.
Noise.
In a couple hours from now, Lexi's first episode will be posting on the
that's right.
internet.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday there's going to be a special bonus episode.
Special.
But by the time you hear this, is all be in the past.
Or is it?
Or is it? So,
My podcast support animal.
yes. We're all enjoying what the fuck?
Podcast support animal?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he needs a little bed on the table.
He's probably laying it sometime.
We're all enjoying the local brewery's newest fair, which is a mango beer.
Raging Eagle.
Oh, you can't say it.
I can't?
No, you can't say Raging Eagle or Yingling. Can't say it.
Why?
'Cause-
Copyright?
yeah, whatever.
Sue me.
Yingling.
We're kind of, this is really just free advertisement for them.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want him to say it?
Well,
right.
until they say we don't want to be associated with those dirtbags.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to be associated with us when they find out what I think of their beer.
I like it.
It's good. I like it.
I
Different.
liked it better over the summer on tap.
I think when it was on tap, when I got the growler full, the mango was a little more subtle.
Yeah.
Now the mango's like there. It's out there. I love it.
It's in
I
there.
love mango. It's out there. It's in there. It's in here. Because I bought a case and I'm half through. 24 ounces.
It's not bad.
And it made the Shelf of Fame.
It definitely
Your
grows
show's
on
getting
you.
smaller by the day.
Oh, you know what? We got the wrong beer for this episode.
What should we have had? And, we should have got the Icelandic beer.
I have the 2 Icelandic beers in there.
Son of a bitch.
Well,
Fucked up.
mid-episode, we'll send Johnny on a beer run. And
Yeah.
we'll
I'll finish this 24 ounce and then.
we'll have our Icelandic beer.
Yeah.
Because today, our topic is,
Yeah, where are we going?
drum roll, Lexi.
I wanted to talk about the Reykjavik confession.
Confessions.
Not convictions, confession.
They were convictions too.
There were convictions.
And then
involved.
convictions were overturned.
Yeah. It's a really great story. There's a lot of adventure going on. I'm excited. It's something that I'm interested in. It's something that comes up in my true crime videos a lot. And
What year was this?
1974.
When Lexi popped this off on me, I'm like, the what? They're like, what is that? What the fuck is that? And then I
Yeah,
started
never
looking
heard of
into it, and I really, I got sucked in. Like, I go down a rabbit hole a lot when I research, as is evident with multiple pages of research. But this one really pulled me in pretty deep, and it's interesting. There's a lot of things going on here, and I'm gonna let Lexi start off.
So
So tell us, what are the Reykjavik confections? Yeah.
confectionery.
I want some sugar candy.
Go to Iceland, get some candy. So this is a case that was full of mishaps. Pretty much everyone in the country of Iceland knows about what happened. Iceland's a pretty small country, as you might know. The United States is pretty large compared to most countries.
Well, let me interrupt then with some fun facts.
Okay.
So, there at the time of this, in 1970, the population of the country was 205,000. There was 103,000 square kilometers or 64,000 miles So if you compare that 64,000 miles, Pennsylvania, the beautiful state that we live in with a screwed up governor,
Just leave it out.
is 45,000 square miles. So it's almost as big as Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
Florida and Wisconsin are like 1,000 square miles larger than Iceland itself.
Well, everybody lives on the outside. Because isn't the interior all frozen?
Well, it's frozen and it's volcano.
Yeah, it's like volcanoes.
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah, Iceland is really, really cool. And right outside of Reykjavik, there are a lot of, I don't know if they talked about it in this. I don't know if they ever came up. But there are a lot of, like, hot springs and stuff.
Hot springs and lava fields.
Lava fields. So, like, people will just go to these hot springs they're in. Like they're surrounded by ice, surrounded by snow, but they're in, like, this hot water, like, in essentially like a hot tub.
That's what their main tourist industry is.
Yeah.
Is people coming to there. And there's also something that's very different about Iceland that's different than any other place in the world. They have two tectonic plates that come together there. You have the Euro-Asian tectonic plate and the North American tectonic plate. They come together there. And there's actually a place not far from Reykjavik called Silfa. And Silfa, you can go with a dry suit and scuba dive. I told you I was going to talk about that. You go scuba diving, and you can actually go down and put your hands on two different continents at the same time, which I think is the coolest thing in the world. And the water there, they say, is the clearest water in the world.
Yeah.
Like when you go down and scuba dive, the only reason you know that they're filming underwater is you see the bubbles coming up. That's the only reason you know. It looks like you're just floating in space. It's so cool.
Pretty neat.
It's not a very long area, but it's actually a really cool scuba dive, and one day that is on my bucket list to do.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty neat to go to Iceland. I've watched like a lot of videos about Iceland and stuff. Obviously, like I watch a bunch of stuff about true crime and everything, but after I read up about this stuff, I started watching videos about it. I looked into Iceland. I thought, whatever, like it's pretty cool. I like watched some vlogs from this girl that moved in with her husband that lives in Iceland or something. I don't know. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of
I was just invited to go to Iceland.
By who?
Aunt Sharon.
Ooh.
Her friend Mike, his family's from there, and I think his daughter lives there now. But basically, she said, all we got to do is fly over. We got a place to stay.
Nice. That'd be cool.
What?
They'd be gone in a heartbeat.
So anyway, continue. Small country.
Very small country. Lots of people know about this. So, in 1974, two men went missing. They had no contact with them, had no idea where they went for 10 months. They had 10 months apart from their, I guess, not abductions, supposed abductions. Disappearances. So,
Here's the first one.
Oh, yeah, that was the 70s.
Yeah. That definitely was the 70s.
Is that a girl or a guy?
That's a guy.
That's a guy, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very Icelandic features with the exception of dark hair.
Yeah.
What language is this?
Icelandic.
Not English. I'm sure there's
They
know a lot
most of
of
them speak English. I think it's taught as
Second language.
as part of their schooling, but Icelandic is the language. And they say it's like the hardest language to master and the absolute hardest to spell. Like the names of things are like this long.
Yeah, and they like if you look at how Reykjavik is written, you can kind of guess what it means. But some of the names in this, you look at them and you're like, what?
Yeah, I had a hard time with it.
So that is Gudmundur Einarsson. He was 18 years old when he went missing while walking home from a dance hall in a place.
Yeah, a place that's not far. It was 6 miles.
Yeah,
From Reykjavik.
it was not very far. It's Hafnarfjordur.
Yeah, Hafnarfjordur.
Yeah, Hafnarfjordur.
Well, you said it right.
Yeah. And that's only a few miles outside of Reykjavik. Precisely 10 kilometers, which is 2.6. The last sighting of him was during the walk home, and he nearly fell in front of a couple cars between 2 and 3. And after that, he was never seen again.
Well, just before he almost fell in front of the cars,
Did he get into like an argument with somebody or something?
He was seen walking with someone with a yellow sweatshirt on, and he almost fell in front of a car.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that guy, well, they're drunk. They're drunk. They're walking 6 miles.
In the snow.
Dude, we could barely walk for ice cream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, they're walking 6 miles, and there's 2 guys walking. One guy almost falls out in the road. So that's how the car noticed them.
Right.
So then that guy's gone. Nobody knows who he was, what he was doing, anything. He was never identified. And then later, Gudmundur, almost fell in front of on the hood of a car.
Must be a thing in Iceland.
It sounds like a good weekend. I know.
I think that he was just slipping on the side of the road and being drunk.
Right, he's drunk. It's icy.
Not like he
it's
sat on
snowy.
somebody's motorcycle on the way home.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, there was no trace of him ever found. He was last seen by a motorist after he nearly fell in front of a vehicle and has not been seen since. A storm swept through that area that night, making the search very hard. The search was performed by volunteers because the country has a limited police force.
So let me talk about the police force real quick. I'm going to jump in. So, their police force was started in 1778, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Lord Greglin, whatever. I was almost Irish, but the literal translation is the law order. And they have 700. Well, 2018, they had 730 active and reserve police officers. So in a country that's that size, now their population now is like 356,000. So that's one officer for every 489 residents, and one officer for every 100 square miles. So
it doesn't sound like a lot.
It's not, because if you go to NYPD, there's 38,421 sworn police officers in just the NYPD.
Yeah,
that's 302 square miles. So that's one officer for every 217 residents, or 217 officers per square mile. That's wrong. That math is wrong.
That's definitely not right.
Whoever did that.
Yeah, you confused me. Wait a minute, hold on.
Whoever did that, wrong.
That person's wrong.
Did you go to Wilson?
No. It's 217 officers per square mile. That's right. The other part's wrong.
There is a lot of officers per resident.
Right. So, what they did back then, and you'd have, because Reykjavik was a big area, so they had most of their police force was in that area, but it was still spread very thin. So when someone would go missing, which happened a lot.
Right. I mean, you got to remember, you're in the middle of like pretty much nowhere. All around this city is just miles of snow and ice
and lava fields
fields.
Boulder fields.
People went missing all the time.
The lava fields, the lava bubbles up and it makes boulder fields, and there's cracks and crevices. So sometimes people in a storm, and it was stormy that night, wander off. They fall in these cracks and crevices. They're never found again.
Yeah.
Yep. Dude, that would suck.
Yeah. Pretty cool though.
Well, I don't think they really remember after the death.
Well,
it would suck for the family. But it was not uncommon for people to go missing, which I don't understand why they made such a big deal about these two people, this one and the next one. Well, I do in retrospect, because I did some research from prior to that. There was actually a murder of a taxi cab driver 2 years before that.
Yes.
And they never solved it.
Murder.
Yeah, like murder there is like, it's far and few between.
It doesn't happen. Most of the people that die or like go missing are because they just disappear.
Or they just want to be missing.
Right.
So that they never found the person who murdered this taxi driver, and like the police and the families were up in arms, and there was a lot of pressure, like saying, hey, there's something going on. There's 2 more guys that are dead. You got to do something about it. So they did a search party for this guy, but that was in the investigation. There was nothing else. They didn't think anything else of it. So Lexi continues.
So 10 months later, November 17th, Geirfinnur Anderson, that's his name. He was 32, and he asked a friend to drive him to meet somebody at a cafe. And during the drive, he stated to his friend that he should have brought a gun with him. His meeting never happened as the person never showed up, so he returned home by walking. When he arrived home, his son answered a phone call from someone he did not know. The call was for his father, who took the phone and was heard saying, "I've already came." He paused and then said, "Okay, I am coming," and left his home, drove to the Harbor Cafe in Reykjavik, and vanished into thin air.
Very good. That's the exact pronunciation.
It is.
You know.
Yeah. His car keys were still in the ignition. No trace was ever found. Unlike the previous disappearance, there seemed to be a criminal element, and foul play was suspected.
And I don't, was just the only reason they felt foul play was suspected here is because I should have brought a gun.
Yeah, he said I should have brought a gun.
I wonder what the gun laws are in Iceland.
The police don't carry guns there.
No.
So it's probably like Great Britain.
Yeah, probably. A witness said they saw someone on the payphone outside of the cafe, and a clay bust was made from the description.
He slipped and fell on the ice.
The name, and they named the statue Clayfinner.
Yeah. So they instead of just drawing,
They made a clay sculpture of this guy.
instead of just having an artist draw a picture of the witness.
It's going to take another 3 months. I'm sorry.
So this guy makes a clay thing, and I couldn't find a good picture of this clay bust, but it's out there.
Yeah.
Like the only picture I could find is like this big.
It looks like Gumby.
Yes.
Dude, what the fuck? This took you 4 months to make?
A bust his shoulders up. So it's just the head.
I know.
And I also think, I don't think that these people were related at all. They just have the same last
No,
name.
they neither one of these guys were related. Okay.
It's a common last name.
John told me this, but there was a little difference to what you told me about the names.
I'm sure I didn't get it 100% right. But...
No, so go ahead and tell me, and then I'll correct you.
Yeah, let's go.
I was under the assumption, I heard a while ago, because I know a couple of people that went to Iceland, that in order to get your last name or first name, it has to be approved by the government.
Right.
And it has to do something with I guess, like, when I say, like, a Puritan law, like, you can't just name somebody an American name because they don't have that many people in Iceland, so I guess after a while...
Right, they're just trying to, like, keep their culture.
Right, exactly. So you could phase it out, I guess, rather quickly.
So
have a
that's all right
name.
with the exception of if you're using a name that's already been used, you can use it. You don't need anybody's permission. If you're using a name that has never been used in the country, like if there's never been someone named John, you can't just name someone John. You have to get approval from a special. I have it in here someplace. A special organization in the government to use the name John. And if it doesn't meet the criteria, like you were saying, they were going to say no.
You'd have to kind of make it sound more Icelandic. Scratch your ass.
Yeah. Johannahan.
Johan.
Jovanovic.
But there's also something with first names. Like
Gunther.
Like I don't know. It's different than here. Like here, your last name is passed on to
Your spawn.
Your spawn. There, I don't know that it is, and I didn't research that far into it because the focus was the disappearances and the everything that took place after it. So I did some odd facts. You know what? That might be down to my odd facts.
Let's see
give
here.
it a look.
Here we go. Side note.
All new first names never used before in Iceland must be approved by the Icelandic Naming Committee.
That's it. Mosquitoes. There's no mosquitoes in Iceland.
Oh, let's go.
I'm down with
Really?
that. There's a spider.
It's because, oh, that's a nasty one.
Let him go. He did.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Look at that one.
He's okay.
He's got some markings on his butt.
Yeah, he's good.
He could be a black widow.
That's fine.
Little guy.
John, so you know that Iceland banned prostitution in 2009,
I don't want to go anymore.
and they banned strip clubs in 2010. So I'm out.
Jeez.
Well, they also don't have the capital punishment I see here since 1930.
Correct. That is correct.
What the hell is there to do in Iceland?
Scuba
go
dive,
to
that's
30
so
to 40 active volcanoes.
Oh yeah, the volcanoes, it's crazy there. Like there's some that erupt 4, 5, 6 times a year.
I read somewhere that they produce like some of the world's best bananas.
Really?
Yeah, there's a factory there, and
It's not going to get you. You're fine. He's okay. I don't kill spiders.
I'm not killing him. I'm just looking at him. Stay over there. I don't care about him.
I watch.
Part of the podcast now.
Listen, buddy, leave her alone. Don't you do it. Don't you go
Don't
after
even
her.
think about it now.
He's gonna scare Ali. He's almost as big as him.
He is almost as big as Ali.
But how was I talking about?
Bananas.
The podcast support dog.
Yeah, no, the bananas in Iceland.
Yeah, how do they grow bananas in Iceland, dude?
Well, I think it's
With
the
water?
soil, like the volcanic soil.
Hold it. You know what the temperature's got to be to grow.
Right,
bananas.
but they like greenhouse the gases, and that's how they get it. So it's like really warm.
Oh, that was another fun fact. Most of their
for the I guess the steam from
the geysers,
the geysers.
yeah, the hot springs. Most of their hot springs.
I got the hot springs. That's the code word now since they abolished. They made them illegal.
Yes. What was I going to say?
Buddy,
The why is that dog on my table?
he needs a bed.
I'm not putting a bed on the table for the dog.
Podcast support dog.
He just had some water. He's just stretching.
What was I going to say? Oh, their energy. Most of their energy is geothermal.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the most
Like-
eco-friendly country
Yes.
on the planet.
Oh, of course, there's nobody there, so
Right, like how are they going to be the not most eco-friendly? Like there's so many less people to get on board. Than like when you're like, we have to go completely eco-friendly in the United States. There's too many people. There's too
Crap right on the middle of the table.
it wouldn't be the first shit thrown on his door.
Probably not.
It's been cleaned. It's been cleaned. I cleaned it.
Okay.
Well, this would be the outside. So.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
which
sure
is-
there was
this
shit
is the
thrown on the
bad-
outside.
yeah.
Anyway,
Anywho.
So, again, in the 70s, disappearances were not uncommon in Iceland due to the open and barren landscape, and extreme weather conditions made it very easy to go missing without a trace. The Icelandic police were under intense public, media, and justice pressure to solve these cases, due to a case that was unsolved by police mistakes in 1968 of a taxi driver who was shot and killed. This incident was fresh in everyone's mind.
Zodiac.
Whoa.
I think the Zodiac. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, let's just pause this for a second.
Again, continue.
Yeah, because we look. You're going to find out we sidebar a lot. So, in some previous podcasts, we had mentioned potatoes
Richard Nixon.
at Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah.
And now that podcast is being released today, 2 hours from now. The government has already broken the conspiracy, and potatoes are back at Taco Bell as we speak.
In March, they're going to be back. I think it is.
Oh.
I think it's the date in March. But they're going to be back. And it's all because I had to talk about it.
That's right. And somebody's listening to our podcast before we even broadcast it.
Yeah. They're listening
And
to it as we record.
That's not it. What was the other one? There was something with Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, I think it was the Night Stalker you just posted about the other day.
Well,
John
am I
never-
supposed to know this?
Yes, I texted you.
No.
Okay.
Yes. Hang on. I'm
9.
gonna break my own rule.
9. Richard Ramirez. I don't know. He's dead.
No, something happened. Like they did something or something.
I don't think it was him.
I'm pretty sure it was.
It was something.
It was something that we had just talked about.
Yep.
I don't know, but all I know is look at Waffle House.
I'll find it. Keep going. I'll find it.
Okay.
I'll just bust in when I get it.
Yeah, that's fine. You just interrupt. Though these two cases were unrelated, the disappearances, what made them both odd was the fact that there was no forensic evidence found by police. The authorities needed to rely on confessions close to the case. Since they were so close together, only 10 months apart, there's a lot of public pressure to come up with a theory and hold someone accountable for them to make the public feel at ease. So, what stood out about the disappearances of these two unrelated men was the lack of forensic evidence acquired by the police surrounding their cases, and the authorities' reliance instead on the confessions of a series of suspects for closing the case. The methods of the police were questionable. It seemed they were more concerned with arresting a group of minor criminals on the fringes of society than they were with finding concrete evidence for the two cases, fueling their hunch through a series of forced confessions extracted from suspects after months of torturous solitude. Find it?
No. I think I might post it on Facebook.
It wasn't.
Are you sure it wasn't about the Zodiac?
It might have been.
I don't remember.
It was something that we just did.
They had heard a rumor about a petty criminal who knew something about the disappearances, or so they heard. So this guy, his name is Savar Sissi.
Here it is.
Sidebar Scissorski.
Scissorski. People just found out Richard Ramirez is real and not just from American Horror Story.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
Well, you
So-
guys, I wasn't there.
Now people know.
I never knew he was an American Horror Story.
Neither did I.
And he looks way too clean to be Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, he does.
He's a dirty, dirty man. So Savar was a small-time crook who had been caught importing cannabis from Denmark.
You bad boy, you.
Insane. Weed is illegal in both Iceland and Denmark. And also,
I
side
don't think it
note,
was illegal in Denmark then.
well, it is now. I have a friend.
I think it was. I don't think it was illegal then.
Oh, well, either way,
Maybe it was.
if you want to go ahead and pick up some of this great mango beer, take a nice sniff.
Hmm.
Smells just like some weed.
No, it does not.
Absolutely does. You
Oh,
smelled some
boy.
very bad weed.
I don't understand how you know what weed smells like.
Neither do I. It just, I smelled it and that's the first thing that came to my mind. It smells like weed. Incredible.
I would not know what weed smells like.
Never. So Savar was a small-time crook caught importing cannabis from Denmark. Small-time crook. In December of 1975, nearly 2 years after the first disappearance, Savar's luck ran out.
But here's what I don't understand. So, I know you haven't gotten here yet. So I'm going to let you get there, then I'm going to tell you what I don't understand. I love doing that. He gets mad at me. He throws his headphones.
Hey, listen, I haven't done that for a while.
It's been a bit, yeah.
You haven't done it since
You haven't done it in the new man cave.
Okay.
Pod cave.
Dog. Police investigating an unrelated crime of embezzling money from Ertla, but we didn't say anything about her yet.
Ursula.
Well, those notes were hodgepodge.
Oh, okay. So there's another girl named Ertla.
Or
Yes, and she was accused of embezzling money from her employer.
This sounds like a witch hunt to me.
It is. It is exactly a witch
and
hunt.
that's what I was going to say. They heard that Savar knew something about this crime.
Right.
Yet they didn't go after him. They tried to corner her.
Yeah.
On some embezzlement charges. Yeah, that's nice.
I don't want to know.
We'll have to insulate this ceiling.
So in December of 1975, they arrested Savar and his girlfriend Ertla, taking them both from their 11-week-old daughter. Both were placed into solitary confinement. When Ertla was questioned the next day, they both denied the embezzlement, and they were not actively being questioned. And when they were not actively being questioned, they were put back into solitary confinement for 6 days. Ertla wanted to get home to her baby, and on that 6th day, she admitted her role in the embezzlement and signed a statement thinking she would be able to go back home when she was about to leave. They produced a picture of Gudmundur Einarsson. She was asked if she knew about this young man. She stated that she recognized him, had maybe driven in a car with him once, and had seen him at a school disco in the 70s. and that she thought he had a crush on her.
Apparently at this dance, he came up to her and asked her to dance or whatever. And, what the, and, she felt he had a crush on her.
It has never been clear why, so long after Gudmundir's disappearance, that the police began asking Erla about it.
Well, yeah, I know, because they were after Savar.
Well, right, but this is 2 years later.
But they heard that I don't know, it was 75 when I heard that Savar might have something to do with this.
Right, and I think this also kind of like almost turned the blame onto Savar because then it's like, oh, we were jealous.
So, but think about this. This young lady just had a baby.
11 weeks ago.
And they flew back from Denmark.
With weed. And the baby.
To Iceland for her to have her baby. No, she had her baby in Iceland.
Yeah.
So she probably had to get the government's permission for the name.
Right. Not mentioned.
I have addendums that I'm going to pull up and you can read then that says where all these people are now. But so she just wants to get back to her kid.
She's like, yeah, I did it. Blah blah blah. Let me go.
Yeah, I know this guy. Yeah. If I can get out the door, I know this guy because she's been in solitary confinement.
6 days, a whole week.
What? It gets worse.
I know it does. When they said that they used solitary confinement for some months, that was an understatement.
Yeah.
So I think how messed up that is. You get arrested, boom, right into solitary confinement.
Yeah, the police, like, years and years later, the Supreme Court of whatever their highest court in Ireland is, really admonished the police and the tactics used in this case as barbaric.
Because they kind of are.
Yeah.
Ice cold.
But she remembered the night he had gone missing. So they were kind of glad that they brought this up to her.
But what would, like, I'm in the police station. I just got charged with embezzlement. Question about embezzlement. I admitted to that. And they're going to let me go home. I'm going to say, yeah, I remember when that guy went missing. I don't remember shit.
Yeah, I don't know why you would. I don't know. I mean, she was in solitary confinement. They made him.
Well, solitary confinement has, and I have some of the effects of solitary confinement down lower.
That's on the last page here.
Yep. But it can really wreak havoc on your psyche.
Yeah, it F's you up.
Whenever you ever followed that,
and solitary confinement wasn't the only thing they used either.
No.
But we'll get there.
Like the Memphis 3. Remember that?
No.
In Arkansas, those 3 kids were accused of killing that little kid.
Yeah.
And
in the woods.
Yeah, and basically they coerced the confessions out of all of them. Like at least another one because they kept him up for like 30 some hours straight, and he wasn't really all there.
I mean, these are kids.
Yeah, and basically they just like would ask him basically, lure him into like admitting to it. You know you were there. You know you did it. Yeah, entrapment.
But like with this case, we'll get to it. But they made some of these people reenact the murder
that they never did
at the crime where they felt was the crime scene. So then they put him back into solitary confinement, and you got to question. Well, hey, I just went through it. I kind of remember that. You know, the way they handled this was just ridiculous.
I'd imagine you'd say anything, just get the hell out of there.
Exactly.
I would think so. Well, we talked about this during our torture podcast.
Yeah.
That some of us, including myself, I don't think I do very well. Like, I don't like being around people, but I don't like being all alone. Like, I hate I like being around people that I like.
Yeah.
Which is very few, but okay.
Yeah.
But the solitary confinement thing, I think would really wreak havoc on my psyche.
Yeah.
I think I go batshit crazy.
I think anybody would.
Yeah.
You're making friends with a piece of bread.
Like, I'd rather you torture me. Like, give me pain. That, at least I could you can put a finger on where it's coming from. The solitary confinement, you don't know what's true, what's not true.
Yeah.
Like, if you're torturing me, I know where the pain's coming from. You the motherfucker giving it to me.
Yeah.
But in solitary confinement, you just no, thank you.
So she also described what she had believed was a nightmare, in which she heard Savar and his friends whispering outside of her window. The investigators latched onto this and ran with it. She was put back into solitary confinement. Maybe,
You're gonna go home. Psych.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought it hadn't been a dream. Perhaps she had witnessed something traumatic.
The dream part was not in there. I didn't get that in there. She told the police that she had this dream, that she heard Savar and his friends outside her window in the middle of the night, and she was so scared by this dream, that one source says she shit the bed. Another source says she pissed the bed. Either way, she soiled her bed.
Yeah.
But then they come back and they say that when she woke up, left, and came back, that the sheets were missing from her bed. Well, yeah, if you shit the bed, the sheets are going to be gone.
Yeah.
Unless you're Richard Ramirez and you like living in filth.
Right.
So, like, it's just, they made a big deal about the sheets being gone.
But it's like, no shit.
Yeah. No shit anymore because it's gone. I'll clean it up.
Exactly.
I'll clean that shit up.
She remembers the head of the investigation becoming very intense, getting right up into her face, and saying, "We're going to help you recall everything. You will not be able to leave here until you tell us what happened to Goodman Dare."
And this will be a reoccurring theme, them telling them, "We'll help you remember."
Yeah.
You'll feel better if you remember. We'll help you remember. And if someone's pounding that into your head day after day, and they were questioning them 8-10 hours a day after being in solitary confinement for days and days and days, weeks and months.
Jesus Christ, I'm surprised that they didn't confess they were the second gunman on the grassy knoll at this point.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I shot Kennedy.
They're the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Irla was warned that for serious crimes there was no limit to the time she could be held in solitary confinement.
At the time, their laws then, that's how it was.
Yeah.
If you like, it's not here where you're innocent until proven guilty. You have a right for bail, or at least a bail hearing. There, it was, you're put in jail until this investigation's done.
Yeah, that's it.
Not only jail,
solitary confinement.
I wonder did they say what their solitary confinement was? Like
They said the cell was no bigger than a king-size mattress.
Yeah.
Did it have a toilet in it or anything?
I would.
Just a hole in the ground.
You know?
Who knows? It could be a bucket in the corner back there.
Yeah.
Because some prisons here at that point were a bucket in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like Turkish prison, they have the hole.
Well, you were talking about your fun-filled adventure to San Francisco Treats, Lance.
Yeah.
And you went to Alcatraz, and you were talking about the guy who took the button off his. He was in complete darkness.
Yep.
Do you think there was a shitter in that?
I think there was a shitter in there.
What if he lost that button in the shitter?
I think. God, I don't remember.
Shitter's full.
I think there was a shitter in there.
Damn it! I'm not putting my hand in that.
Oh, gosh.
Wilson!
Over the coming days, she was interviewed for hours on end with no lawyer present. She just wanted to get back to her baby, and after a day of 10-hour interrogation, they produced a statement for her to sign saying she had seen Savar and 3 of his friends with a body wrapped in a bedsheet, the body of Gudmundur Einarsson. She thought that it would be dismissed as nonsense, so she signed the statement in an effort to get back to her young baby.
So they make up a story and say, here's what happened. Just sign it.
It gets worse. They then went to work on Savar, and when presented with the signed statement, Savar suddenly admitted he might, after all, know something about the death of Gudmundur. This after being held in solitary confinement.
It doesn't say how long at this point they've been in solitary confinement.
I mean, they've been there for a couple weeks.
I think it's
gotta be.
I think it's several months.
Yeah.
Because when she finally got back to her baby, the baby was no longer an infant; it was a toddler.
Yeah. But I mean, there were some people in this case that were held for like 3 years in solitary confinement. Like consecutively, that's how long this one person stayed in solitary.
It says down lower how long they were in solitary confinement. But I will tell you, as part of a spoiler, one of the people it's the longest anybody's been held in solitary confinement in the world,
Ever.
including or except for Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
So the only one who could top Iceland in poor treatment of people is the United States.
Hey, number one.
Number one. What it says.
He started talking, admitting his part, and going on to implicate his closest friends, Christian Vidar Vidderson, a big man with a reputation as a tough guy, although his friends would say that he is a gentle giant.
There.
Trygve Runar Leiferson, known to be someone who liked to fight when drinking. Both men had police records and spent time in jail. They were told if they refused to cooperate, their solitary confinement would be extended from weeks to months, and that it could go on for years.
So Leifson, 655 days in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
1,522 days in custody. And that's the longest solitary confinement outside of Gitmo.
Like 2 years.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Literally.
2 years.
No, 1,000 days?
Well, that's
Oh, in
in
custody.
custody. 655 days in solitary.
That's about 2 years.
That's ridiculous.
Second thought, I don't think I want to go to Iceland.
Well,
Don't commit a crime.
Ergo was in solitary for confinement for 242 days. That can't be right.
Who did this math?
Again?
Well, it says 239 days in custody, solitary confinement for 242 days. I think hers was 142. I can look it up quick. There's actually a great website with information about this case, and it was a story done by the BBC.
Yeah.
It's very thorough.
Yeah.
The wiki has a lot of information, but the BBC article, they run everything down.
After several weeks of continuous lengthy interrogations, Christian and Trygve admitted killing Gudmundur in a fight over payment for a bottle of spirit. The final accomplice, Albert Klan Skafson,
You just making up words.
was a gentleman whose only previous contact with the police had been for cannabis possession. How dare he?
Well, he probably could have been carrying a
They
can
probably
of
just
mango
sniffed
beer.
it. Yeah, they just sniffed it and they were like, don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
The sidekick of the
Solitaire
group,
with you.
the sidekick of the group, he struggled to cope with the isolation of the interrogation. He admitted to transporting Gudmundur's body to the lava field where it was hidden deep within one of the gaping cracks. Investigators began to think there was an underground movement, much like the Manson family in the U.S., responsible for more than one murder.
Just bizarre.
It seemed that the weakest link was Ertla to get to Savar.
I would think this last guy that you said, the sidekick guy,
Yeah.
I would think he would be the weak link. He's never really been in trouble.
Right, he was never really in trouble. He was like a soft-spoken, quiet, gentle kind of person. He had a hard time in solitary. Like, why wouldn't he be the first to crack? But, I mean, of course, Ertla had a baby.
Right. Well, this guy here, they actually took him out all the time and walked him through the lava fields. And they would say, is this where you put him? Is this where you put him? Is this where you put him? Is it 8 hours a day they'd walk him
Yep.
out to these lava fields?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think it's a little bit further down that way. Let's keep walking.
You see where the smoke's coming out of the ground? That's where we're going.
Yeah.
Having implicated her boyfriend and his friends, she was fearful of reprisals. The police had befriended her, even helping her to move home. One day, out of the blue, an officer asked Ertla if Savar might know something about the second disappearance. She responded, maybe. Her answer was...
that did so good for her last
Yeah,
time.
what this
Do you
dumb
know
bitch
this guy
just
in
shut
this
the fuck
picture?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Do you know me back in solitaire again? I might ring a bell.
Do you know anything about this other murder? Maybe?
Yes, I do, yes.
Her answer was enough to have the head of the investigation turn up at her door the next day.
Jesus Christ.
Erla recalls how he sat on her sofa and told her, "We have a reason to believe that you have experienced something traumatic concerning Geirfinnur's disappearance. Geirfinnur. And we are going to help you remember."
Oh boy.
And that's a reoccurring theme.
Yep.
They, all throughout all these interrogations, that's what they kept on telling
We
us.
will help you remember.
Now let's go back.
Not German.
It might as well be.
No.
Yeah, here for the tapestries.
Tapestries? Of course we have tapestries. You have to remember that not only is there no physical evidence that a murder took place, they have no body.
They don't have any body. They have no evidence
So
whatsoever.
this all stemmed from this drunk ass guy falling down in a snowstorm, disappearing.
It could be.
They think they killed him over a bottle of spirits,
Yeah, some liquor.
And now there's another guy. You know, the second guy, so now they
bottle
don't
of
know.
rock and rye.
They just want. They just
There was
wanted
probably
to get.
some moonshine. There's some white lightning out there.
Yeah.
It had worked for the police the first time. Maybe it would work again. If Erla hoped that helping the police would get her out of trouble a second time, she was wrong. In January 1976, the police began questioning Savar and his friends about Geirfinnur's disappearance. And soon, she became a suspect too. The accomplices' stories kept changing. At first, Geirfinnur had died after falling off a boat, and then it had been from a fight on board a boat. It would take a year and a half to agree on a final version presented to the court. In this one, Geirfinnur was killed on dry land among the empty, rusting hulls of fishing boats perched on iron blocks, surrounded by the debris of repairs.
Okay, so I don't think they had a body. They have no idea where he died.
No.
They had a witness that said they saw 3 people get on a boat,
Yeah.
and 2 people came back.
Right.
But they have a theory that he was killed on land and then taken out. But in some of the photos I saw on a website that I was on today, it looked like they were showing crime scene photos, and it looked like they were showing a body. Unless they just had someone lay on the ground and said, "Oh, this is the body."
Right, like, because, you know, they were just reenacting it, okay?
We're going to help you.
Also, maybe their stories kept changing because they didn't do it.
We're going to help you, Michael. John, can you go get me an Icelandic beer?
Which one do you want?
Whichever one you grab out.
I will try it, but I'm not going to be able to drink another beer.
You can try mine.
Valtýr Sigurdsson, the prosecutor who led the initial inquiry into the disappearance, says he is certain what went on that night when Geirfinnur couldn't deliver the booze he was attacked. He was killed by mistake. He met these people and told them stories. He had alcohol, he could sell them.
Johnny, you better hurry up. If you don't get me that beer quick, I'm going to kill you.
They got angry when he was bluffing. They didn't plan to kill him, but that's what happened.
Icelandic beer.
Icelandic beer.
I'll let
What
you
does he
take the
sound
first
like?
sip.
Icelandic.
Icelandic?
I
Einstock.
Well, you can't say it.
Sorry.
lost my number in a gold
It's
shooting
called
accident.
winter ale. I like that.
Now I'm going to tag it. I'm going to tag it in the...
The stout.
It is a porter? No, it's a winter ale. But it's a darker beer.
Yeah, it tastes like a stout.
It's got a little cloviness to it.
Yeah. The investigators said Geirfinnur's body had been taken to Reykjavik and hidden in the cellar of Kristjan's grandmother's house for several days before being taken to the lava field, where it was put in a shallow grave and burned.
Can you imagine that? We had lava fields around here. How many people can disappear?
Dude, this is Scoopy County. There's mine shafts
Oh, there
everywhere.
he goes.
Oh, he's going home.
He's got a weird mark on his butt.
He's okay.
I want to know what it is. I think his leg is broken. He's got it in his black.
No, he's fine. It's just a little wolf spider.
Is that what they are?
They jump too.
They do jump.
Don't tell me that. They don't
Just
jump.
don't scare him. He's fine.
Okay.
He said, "Don't tread on me."
By the summer of 1976, 4 suspects had been in solitary confinement for half a year inside the cramped cells of Sidney prison. Sidney. They kept mentioning a foreigner and his involvement. The search brought them to Gudjon
These guys have no clue what the fuck they're doing.
Skarfadin.
Now this is the sick guy because like when I was going through this, I said, "Well, the final suspect And I'm like, hold it, that's only 5. Where's the 6th guy? But this 6th guy was a teacher.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you're going to commit a murder, you go to a former teacher. They say, hey, can you help us out?
Of course, that's what I would do.
Oh, gosh. Where was I? Gudjon. His last name. Skarfedinson. A 32-year-old former teacher. He was dark-haired, which earned him the nickname Foreigner. Which is funny because didn't, not the first one.
Savar.
Gufmundur. He had
dark hair.
Gudmundur had dark hair.
Savar was actually half Polish and half Icelandic. And like he stood out because he had dark hair, is what they said. And they say that's why they keyed in on him, because he had dark hair. Foreigner. And again, another foreigner.
Right. And also, Gudjon had embraced the 1970s with an easygoing attitude to sex and drugs, so obviously he needs to go to jail.
Guilty!
So much so that
peace and love.
He let Savar, a former pupil of his, smuggle drugs into Iceland using his car. And
using his car?
Yeah, using his car.
He smuggled drugs in Iceland with a car.
Drive.
From where?
From Denmark.
Yeah.
Across the ocean?
Maybe they parked his car at the
maybe they just meant
the
distribute the drugs once he was in Iceland.
Maybe.
I scratched my head on that one too, bro. I'm just going to roll with it.
The people believed the police had believed Savar had called on him again to drive to Keflavik to meet and kill Geirfinnur. Did I say his name?
I know.
The interrogation room above Reykjavik's old prison is stark white with bars on the windows, a desk, and a few chairs. For 4 months, it was the only room Ertla saw, apart from her cramped isolation cell. The investigators basically told her their theory, put it on paper, and told her if she signed, she would be allowed to go home. At the time of her arrest, she was suffering from postpartum depression, and her child was now a toddler. She just wanted to get back to her after months in solitary confinement. This timid girl decided saying yes was easier than holding out.
So imagine what your life is like. Rather than stay in solitary confinement, I'm gonna say I murdered somebody or helped murder somebody just so I can get home to my kid.
Yeah. Imagine being that desperate.
You're making him self-conscious.
I'm just making sure I know where he is. That's what you do. Keep your friends close and your enemies close.
He's not a man.
That's why Ollie's here.
Yeah, look at him.
He's my little demon. Went.
Call me demon.
Over a 2-year period, they were taken out on at least 60 separate occasions to look for the 2 victims. They would walk them through the lava fields and ask, could the body be here? Over and over.
Jesus Christ, we get a bunch of yahoos.
Yeah. This was one of the most insane things that I'd ever heard. Gudjon was struggling to remember, but there's our friend. Struggling to remember anything about the murders, including where he was 2 to 3 years prior.
That was the other guy.
That's Geirfinnur. He looks like a respectable guy. So they're asking him, what were you doing 2 to 3 years ago on this date? And he's like, I don't fucking know.
I don't remember, dude. I was high.
He's like, this is the 1970s.
I was driving my car from Denmark.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is driving the water?
On December 8th, 1976, he was the last to, quote-unquote, confess. He recalls, I was asked, were you in the yard of Keflavik that particular night? And I said, yes, I was. That's my confession. With no physical evidence to link anyone to the murders, there was no body. In fact, there was not evidence that a murder had even taken place. On February 2nd, Paul Schutz, the investigator brought in to handle the case, told a press conference the crimes had been committed by a small group of petty criminals who used every opportunity they could get to get their hands on money. It is beyond a reasonable doubt, as we criminal experts like to put it, that it's safe to assume it's an open and shut case, he told reporters.
So they brought this guy in from Germany.
You can tell because his name is...
Carl Schultz.
Carl with a K. And his last name has a Z in it.
So
Stop looking at him.
I'm just saying hi.
No, stop looking at him. You're making him nervous.
So they brought this guy in from Germany to work on this case, and it was like they needed a closer.
Right.
So he said, "Yeah, I can close this case. Yep, they're all guilty."
Yeah, pretty much. However,
Case solved.
a detective who had left the case, Gisli Gudjonsson.
Now, he left the case. He was relatively young.
Yeah.
But he left the case to go and study forensic psychology.
Yeah.
And he came back, and some of the stuff that he's written since have really made these people look like the Keystone Cops.
And he also talked to the guy that had his first name is in this guy's last name, Gudjon.
Yeah.
Anyways, he was like, essentially, he came in. He's like, "This is wrong. This is all wrong. Start from the beginning."
Well, he says that he did research on solitary confinement, isolation syndrome, and that kind of stuff, and how it can, false confession syndrome, and stuff like that. And he says that there's no way these people did this.
Yeah. He performed a lie detector test on Gudjon. When he found out, Carl Schutz was furious and wrote to the Minister of Justice, Gisli says, which no shit he was. He demanded that I was to disclose all the material from that particular assessment, even though it was confidential and I had to disclose it to him. But after this, something strange happened to Gudjon. Just as, after receiving medication, he confessed to the murders, following the lie detector test, he started to question whether he had actually been involved. Maybe he started thinking he was innocent after all. Several of the suspects now began trying to reenact their confessions, saying they had been trying to retract their confessions, saying they had been pressured into signing statements that weren't true.
So now, before they actually went to trial, every one of them recanted their confession.
Yeah.
Every single one of
them. Shush.
They what?
His ears off with wrong. Several of the suspects now began trying to retract their statements, blah, blah, blah. Investigators dismissed these claims, as did the court, sometimes because the attempted retractions had come too late, or, as in Syvar's case, because the head investigator told the court, "I know better." In December 1977, 2 years after the first arrest, the court delivered its verdict. Syvar was given the harshest sentence, life for the 2 murders. The 5 other suspects were given sentences ranging from 12 years for Gudjon to 3 for Erla.
Now, Erla was, I think, only convicted of lying to the court.
Yeah, I think all she got time for was embezzlement, for that embezzlement that she did.
She did get time for lying to the court, too.
Oh, okay.
Later on, when all these convictions were overturned, hers is the only one that wasn't.
Which is stupid.
And all their convictions were overturned after they served their time.
Yeah. Years later, Gisli, one of the world's leading experts on false memory syndrome, says Gudjon's diary is one of the clearest examples of it that he has come across.
Okay, I didn't put this in there. Gudjon kept a diary of, like, everything while he was in jail.
Yeah.
Like, every time he was taken out for interrogation, how long he was in isolation. And, like, the diary at one point started questioning. Like, you could see the tone had changed.
Yeah.
He started questioning, did I kill this guy?
Yeah.
Did I really do this?
Yeah.
And yeah, I did it. Whatever.
I guess I did. They're saying so.
Bring lunch on.
Yeah.
So
Is it time to go to the lava field yet?
It's time to get out of here. So some of the interrogation techniques used, obviously isolation and solitary confinement. Erla spent what we think is 142 days, maybe 242. We're not 100% sure. Trygve spent the longest in solitary confinement, which is the 655 days. Syvar had endured the longest stay in custody, a total of 1,033 days, 615 of those in solitary confinement. Christian spent 1,522 days in prison, of which 503 were in isolation. Albert spent 87 days in custody, and Gudjon spent 1,202 days in custody, of which 412 were in isolation.
So they averaged over a year.
Yeah.
In solitary
In
confinement.
solitary confinement, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
They also deprived them of sleep, playing loud music.
Like some of these things are advanced interrogation techniques that we use. You know, the sleep deprivation is something that's used, but we don't use drugs. We're not allowed to.
Yeah, there were drugs used. They were water tortured, interviewed at length under pressure with little contact allowed with their lawyers.
Now, the water torture they're talking about here is not waterboarding. Waterboarding.
Was it freezing water or?
No, they would dunk their head in water, tell them, we're not going to let you up until you answer the question. That's water torture.
Yeah.
Waterboarding, there's actually no chance of you drowning.
Right, because isn't it just like cloth?
Take a towel and put it over your face, and they pour water on the towel, and it makes it very hard to breathe.
Oh my gosh, it's scary. I've done it to myself before.
It's crazy. And they have you lean back when you're doing it. This, they're actually taking his head and shoving it underwater and saying,
nope, you're not coming out.
If you say you did it, we'll let you come up. What'd you say? I said, fuck you.
Yeah. And as we know today, 15 days in solitary confinement is enough to inflict lasting harm.
And that's from Gigley's study. What's that guy's name? What's that guy's name?
Gisley.
It's from his study that's
yeah, I'm surprised these guys weren't like mental cases after they got out.
September 27th, 2018, all but Ertlo were cleared of charges long after they had served their time. But I'm confused because Savar got life.
Yes.
Did he die?
No. In Iceland, a life sentence is like 18 years.
Excuse me? That's weird. Okay.
So he served it this was the 70s.
Probably wasn't shit considering his 2 years in solitaire.
It wasn't until 2018, 2.5 years ago, that this got overturned.
Yeah.
This is like a travesty of justice.
Oh, absolutely.
That even if these people had done this
is still just too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
look, we work in the jail system, and none of this shit goes on. Not here. Not at our level. I've never seen anything even close to any of this. And I can't imagine someone maintaining their sanity.
After 2 years of solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go ahead and list off some of the effects of solitary confinement.
Okay.
So according to many scientific experiments and studies, it is evident that solitary confinement has adverse effects on the mental health of inmates. Prisoners deprived of social interactions for most of the day, for possibly months on end, can experience extreme damage to the brain. Prisoners may develop depression because of the confinement. They may also develop suicidal thoughts due to be alone for hours, as well as hallucinations and loss of sense of reality. In addition, prisoners who spend time in solitary confinement tend to be more bitter and angry, which goes against the rehabilitation goal of the prison system.
Hold it. Maybe I was in solitary confinement.
You possibly could have been.
I'm bitter and angry.
In solitary confinement, prisoners also experience extreme boredom and stress. They can emerge from the experience having prolonged problems with sleeping and concentrating. Prisoners who spend time in solitary confinement tend to have more anger toward the prison and the guards than those who are not subject to this punishment.
Let me correct you there. The correct officer.
Well, you wrote this.
No.
Solitary confinement does little to rehabilitate behavioral issues and may exacerbate them, the opposite of the practice's intent. Now, when you're thinking about solitary confinement, think about that movie with the
Man in Iron Mask.
No. With the volleyball. He puts the face on the volleyball.
County Monte Cristo.
No, Castaway.
Castaway.
Yeah. That's essentially what solitary confinement does. You go insane. You literally.
Yeah, but he could interact. Crazy. He could interact. That's bad.
At least he got to see the sun.
That's bad.
He had Wilson.
Yeah, his fault.
But he could go around the island and keep himself busy. You're in a little cell.
Right.
Yeah. Was it the Count of Monte Cristo where he's like, I've gone mad. I could count every single block in this cell. He's like, I know how many there are. And then the guy, she's like, yes, but have you started the name?
Yes, that is. John, you want to run these
down? Or
down?
was that the Man in the Iron Mask?
Oh, Savar's kind of cute.
You want to run these down? What happened to these guys?
Yeah, sure. Savar Scissorsuke.
Scissors.
Scissors. He spent years trying to overturn his conviction. Then he moved to Copenhagen. Was that Denmark? Did he drive to Copenhagen?
He did.
Yeah,
He drove
He go there.
He drove to Copenhagen and ended up on the streets where he died in 2011, age 56.
That sucks. Oh, she's cute.
In a 70s kind of way.
What's her name?
That's Ertla.
Ertla.
Old Never
Can't pronounce her last
mind. Remained in Iceland with her daughter. She trained as a language teacher and now teaches Icelandic to newly arrived migrants.
Cool.
Christian
Viderson.
Viderson.
Christian.
Kind of looks like Mick Jagger.
I don't see it. I mean, like the mouth, maybe.
Yeah. He had them big old lips. Married and had 2 children. He had a string of manual jobs. He now lives alone in Reykjavik and rarely talks about the case.
I don't think I would talk about it either. That's
Look at this
Trygve.
guy. He's guilty.
What's his name?
Trygve Leeson.
Trygve, that's right.
Became a decorator. Of course. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. It's all in
He
the eye.
definitely smoked marijuana.
We don't judge.
He had 3 children, one of whom died in 2002 after developing cancer. Trygve died in 2009 at the age of 58.
So, like, half these people died before they were ever overturned.
That's
This
a shame.
guy just looks angry. It's just like,
Albert.
this looks like he's been in solitary. He just ripped them out.
Yeah, they're like, oh, sorry, we need to take your picture.
Smile for the picture, bitch.
Yeah. Albert Skaftason settled down and has a stable family. He works with disadvantaged children. He has never talked publicly about the case since his
Oh, this is the teacher.
Jorgon.
Gudjurgan. He, again,
Gormagon.
yeah, he drove to Denmark, and he married and started a family. He trained as a Lutheran minister and returned to Iceland. He recently retired.
Congratulations.
That
I'm
is
glad
it.
that you retired.
So, like,
Major
3/4 of them
miscarriage of
fucking
justice.
died.
Yeah.
First dude died homeless on the streets of Denmark after he drove there. Ran out of gas money.
Yeah. He was like, I don't know, I guess these people gave me weed before. Maybe I can go back.
But man, what a fucked up. It just sounds like they were on a witch hunt.
Yeah.
And you've seen cases like this in America before. Not exactly like this, but where they don't have shit to go on and they just freaking pin it on somebody and coerce a confession out of them.
Yeah.
And they could force the confession out of 6 people here.
Yeah.
And whether they had something to do with the guy's disappearance, either one of them or not, you know, just I can't imagine.
No. That's pretty insane. That's pretty insane. That's why I picked this one, because it was super crazy. There's lots to talk
It is.
about.
And I'm glad you did, because this was not being something that I would have delved into.
Yeah.
But when I got into it, look,
I figured it'd be something that you guys were interested in because it has to do with, like, in the 70s, like, kind of like prison system and...
why are you saying 70s?
there's-
One of us alive in the 70s?
I mean, you were 4 when this happened.
No.
You were really interested in what was going
They
on.
tried to get me to confess, but I said, "No fucking way."
Yeah, he was like, bitch, here's a crayon.
Crayon, bitch.
Listen, I'll give you this box of donuts if you just sign here.
Oh, what do I got? Do you have the donuts with you?
Can I look at them? Can I have one now?
Yeah. Can I taste them before I sign?
Maple bacon.
Not in the 70s. They were
Speaking of, I
displays.
just the store. So I almost got the maple bacon donut.
Nathan had
I got him a bacon soda.
it is the most disgusting thing
Bacon
I've ever.
soda donut?
No,
No, just bacon soda.
bacon, soda.
Bacon. B-A-C-O-N.
Bacon,
Soda.
Like Mountain Dew soda.
Yes.
like pop.
Like that kind of soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, pop. I got it from this really cool candy store up in Pittsburgh.
You said it was gross?
It was-
Nathan was very nice. Nathan said it was interesting.
that's what I said too. He said this will probably be the soda that sits in the refrigerator longer than anything else.
Yeah.
You ever have a chocolate covered
delicious.
bacon?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's good.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I also like
the sweet and the salty go together. It's
Yeah.
I like chocolate covered potato chips too.
it's like it's like a
Wait.
cheese Danish, dude.
Ooh, I love
Who would think cheese and Danish would go together
Yeah,
until you
that's
bite
more
into
like
one?
cream cheese.
Yeah, it's more like cream cheese. It's a cheese with sugar.
If you put cheddar on apples,
Yeah, You know what? One of my friends made a pie for one of my other friends' birthdays. I think it was last year or the year before.
You don't have that many friends. Stop.
Okay, anyways. She made this apple pie. He was like, she's like, what do you want? You know, like, what kind of dessert? And he's like, I want apple pie. Like, he found this weird recipe that was apple pie with Cheetos, like a Cheeto crumble on top.
Mm.
And it was so good. I was like, can I have another?
I kind of like me some Cheetos.
Yeah, I love Cheetos, so it was, like, perfect for me. I want to try it with Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Ollie with a Shima.
He's cold.
He's always shaking.
He needs a robe.
Little Muslim dog.
No,
Hey,
stop.
get it, boy.
Hello, sir. No, he's just a baby.
Don't walk off the table.
Yeah. All right, so that is the Helsinki Confessions.
Reykjavik.
Oh yeah, Reykjavik.
Reykjavik, Iceland.
Reykjavik.
Reykjavik.
Reykjavik Confessions. I know I learned something from researching this, and I hope our listeners learned something from listening. As to do not say you know somebody in the picture.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in this picture. Miss, you're in this picture. I have no idea who these people are. This
I don't
is
even
your
know
brother.
her. That's not
I have
somebody.
no idea who that is.
They're going to help you remember. Run away.
Yeah. If somebody tells me that they're going to help me remember, I'm going to be like, you can try, but there's a lot of brain trauma in here.
So it's like, Dad, I really want some ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a wrap.
That is a good one. And with that, go take on the world. Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that.
Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.